Y'all doing today? I wanted to check in with you first of all, just to make sure that you can hear me and that you can see the chart on the screen. So as soon as you can give me confirmation on that, then I will go ahead and dive in. Hey, Frank, thanks for saying hi. Megan, Nissa, whoever else wants to say hi, feel free to do so. Just waiting for confirmation that you can all hear me here before I dive in. Still not seeing anyone. Confirming. Good old Google Hangout delay here. Megan says not yet in her secret back door to me. Yes, yes, yes. I hear you and see you. Awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna jump in here, and I'm really excited about what we're going to be talking about today, which is how to set yourself apart from your competition with teleseminars or webinars. Okay, now this is really exciting because this is basically what has made our business grow by 5 times in the last year and a half. Okay, so this is pretty effective stuff, pretty fun stuff, and I'm going to teach you a lot about what's going on here and how to actually do this, how to make it work, and that's what the webinar is today. So here we go. I'm going to first of all let you know that this is for you. This webinar today is for you if you want to become the go-to person in your city or in your niche for a specialty. Okay, so if you are in a city with other people who are doing it, you're going to be able to be rocking it and just really making a name for yourself. And even if you're national in a certain niche, you're going to be able to make that name for yourself if you use what I'm going to show you here today. It's for you if you want to create a ton of momentum in attracting clients and maintain it, okay? So what I'm going to be talking about is an ongoing system for how to do these and how to be really effective in doing these. And what I have found is it's just been building and building and building, okay? The momentum has been building. We've just been growing month over month over month. And so it works really, really well. And it's not only for people like me, but for you as well. This is for you if you're tired of waiting and you want to make something happen, okay? So there's a lot of people that feel really powerless with their marketing, right? The problem with growing a practice is that what most people do is they join some directories. You know, maybe you list yourself on Psychology Today, goodtherapy.org, network therapy, etc., and you put up a website and then you wait for things to happen. And even if you put up a really good website, like the ones that we help people put up, where we provide really engaging content, it's SEO savvy and all this good stuff, maybe you even do AdWords, okay? Things, if you do a really good site and you're driving traffic to it via AdWords, you are definitely going to be growing faster than the average therapist, okay? There's no question about that. However, even there, you're kind of in the mode of waiting for people to seek you out, right? Either they're searching for terms in Google and they're finding your site organically or via paid ads, and they're coming to your site, and your site is communicating really well to them what you do, it's engaging them and all that good stuff, and so they come, but still you're kind of in a waiting mode, right, to find you. And a lot of us feel really powerless in the waiting. That's all there is to it. There's not a whole lot of excitement in waiting, okay? And you may not know what to do to speed things up. So this topic that we're going to be talking about today is the best way that I know to really speed things up, really be proactive and make things happen in your practice. So 4 reasons that teleseminars and webinars work so well. And if you understand these, you're going to be, you're just going to get the whole thing. Okay, this is it. This is the core of it. First of all, if you are presenting something, okay, via either a teleseminar or a webinar, you have something concrete and specific to offer. And I don't mean necessarily something to offer as in selling, but in giving information, in providing education to people. Okay, something concrete and specific, as opposed to, hey, I'm a therapist, I do all these million things, yeah, I work with these people, I do this, that. When you get down to actually doing a teleseminar or a webinar or a presentation of any kind, you're really narrowing down the focus to something concrete and specific. And I'll talk about that a little bit more here in a second. Also, when you're doing one of these things, there is a time limit on it, okay? So just like today, right? This is happening here today. This is happening here today. So you got notified that I was going to give this talk today. So you're here, okay? You're here. It has a time limit. It's happening on a certain date. You show up, and here you are. Now, the other thing is that even if there's a replay provided, you have to opt in to get the replay. Okay, so you are basically propelled to take action. It's a scheduled event, as opposed to a website that's sitting up online all the time. All right, so this is what we're doing with this. This is why it works so well. Another thing is that rather than just visiting your website for 1 to 3 minutes, which is really, you know, the average time frame that somebody stays on your site, folks will tune into you on a webinar or a teleseminar for up to an hour. Okay, that is massive attention. That's awesome. And in that time, there's a lot more relationship building that happens than somebody passively reading your website for 1 to 3 minutes and then leaving. Okay, and then finally, and this is key, and this is the big difference between doing a teleseminar or webinar or versus, you know, doing something like a presentation at a library or something like that. The digital format of a teleseminar webinar drives attendance, both face-to-face, and it keeps delivering going forward. Okay, so right now you're here real time, and this is being recorded. So here we are real time, you're listening to me, but this webinar is something that is being recorded. It's on my YouTube channel. People can watch it. It will be on my YouTube channel. People can watch it later. It's going to be on my website. People can watch it later. The replay is available, so whoever couldn't come here in this moment now can listen to it later. And that is the beauty of using the digital format. It delivers for you over and over again. All right, so that's key to understand. It's great to go ahead and do talks in the community. It's awesome to do that, okay? You can get your name out there, all that good stuff. But if not, you know, if 100 people don't show up, but you could really reach 100 people via a digital format, then you're missing out. Okay, usually people don't get 100 people at their talks. So that is a really key concept. Now, I realize as I talk about this, that the whole idea of doing a teleseminar or a webinar may sound really scary to you, okay? It may sound really scary. It was really scary to me. In the beginning, you may not have much of a list of people to send the invitation to, right? You may not have much of a list, and you're going to wonder, oh my gosh, who's going to even come? Am I going to be there talking to myself or what? Okay, you may not have much of a list. You may not even know what to talk about when you ponder this. Even if you buy into the fact that this could be an awesome way to really catapult your practice, you may have no idea of what to talk about. You may also not know how to market it. All right, most people don't. Most people don't know how to market it. In fact, I'm going to tell you a story in here a second about myself and how when I first started this, I was a miserable failure. Okay, so if you don't know how to market it, don't worry. I didn't know how to market it either in the beginning. And you may also not know how to use the technology. And you know, our group of therapists, people in therapy, are typically not the most technologically advanced or comfortable. Some are, but a lot aren't. And so you may be intimidated by the technology. And so I totally get that. I understand all of that. It can be really nerve-wracking. Okay, but let me tell you my story, and then I'm hoping this is going to help you. So August of 2012, yeah, I know some of you have been on my list forever, but in August 2012, I decided that I was going to focus my online marketing expertise exclusively on the therapy niche. The therapy niche is where I started, and then I got distracted and pulled into other things like helping e-commerce companies and home builders and naturopaths and all sorts of different people do a bunch of different stuff, wedding photographers, whatever. But I decided that was just pulling me in a million different directions, and I was going to pull back in, and I was going to focus exclusively on the therapy niche. Okay, so I decided as part of that focus and coming back and launching the Counseling Wise site and brand that I was going to schedule bi-monthly calls. Okay, I knew a lot. I mean, at the time, Andy Gross, my business partner, and I, we knew a heck of a lot because we had been successful not only in the therapy niche in helping clients, helping therapists get their practices growing fast, but we had also helped a lot of other business folks. And so we knew that we had a heck of a lot to offer, and we decided, okay, let's go ahead and schedule these bi-monthly calls, and we'll just set up a time and say, hey, we're having these free calls. Come listen. Okay, come listen to us chat about stuff, ask any questions you have, let us help you. Well, it was a miserable failure, actually. Okay, very miserable. And the the first time that we did it, we had one person show up. The second time we had 2 people show up, and then we got up to 3, and we thought, okay, this is great, man. We're taking off here, right? At least it's going in the right direction. And then the next time it was back down to 1. And so something was obviously off with that, right? It wasn't that we didn't know a lot. It wasn't that we didn't have great intention to offer a lot of free information. With those, 1, 2, or 3 people that came, they had good questions. We answered them. We recorded it. We made the recording available. We were definitely providing value to therapists with this service. But these numbers were, let's say, embarrassing, okay? Well, then things got a little worse, okay? Andy decided in February, I'm sorry, that should say 2013, February 2013, that he was going to leave, okay? He decided that he wanted to go pursue his music more seriously, and he was going to leave. And so here I was feeling like, oh my gosh, here I am. I have some developers because we've been developing websites, but, I felt really alone. I didn't have anybody in partnership with me. And I thought, I don't even know if I can do this business anymore without him around. And so I was really, I would say that was a major crisis. Okay, that was a major crisis. I was even considering taking a job. And a lot of you probably don't even know this. This was like a year, a little over a year and a half ago. I had an offer for a business analyst position for the largest mental health center in Colorado. And I was actually considering that, but then on my way back from that interview, I felt sick to my stomach in the car. And that was a pretty good indication that maybe I should not do that. Okay. But things were not good. It was a really low point. So I knew I needed to do something different. So I worked with an expert who's really, really good at this on how to make teleseminars and webinars successful. I decided that I needed to really get out there and share what I know. And so I worked with this guy on his system, learning his system for doing it. And so I launched my first newly formatted approach in April of 2013. Okay, so that was exactly a year and a half ago. Well, the registrations for that went from, I told you the miserable high of 3 before. The first time that I did this the right way, I got 36 folks who registered. And then the next time it went up to 109, and then it just kept growing. And last month, when we did our last AdWords webinar, I think we're at 262 or something like that. Okay, so big difference, right? So I just want to show you that I struggled with this myself, and I can short circuit this for you, okay? Because I've been there, I've lived the pain. In that year and a half, our list has grown more than 5 times. So this is a great list growing mechanism. It's not just a presentation mechanism, but it's a list growing mechanism. And our monthly revenue has grown 5 times. Okay, that's pretty nice. That's really nice. Okay, so we're a little busy, that's for sure, but that's a good problem to have. So you can have this or anything you want with this approach if you use it correctly. You don't have to grow 5 times, or you could if you want. If you want to have a group practice, you can do that. But the point is, this is a really great system for making it take off, okay? Now, I do want to let you know, some of you may be thinking, yeah, well, you know, you teach nationally and you have a niche of therapists, and it's different because it's a business thing and all that kind of stuff. So I get that. I understand how you might question whether or not this is going to work. So I just want to tell you that last year I taught this to 2 psychologists as well. The first one had already been giving some teleseminars only, and she's still only doing teleseminars. She's not doing webinars yet. She had a historical high of 60 registrations for any of her events, and the first time we did it this way, it went up to 200. Okay, so that was pretty sweet. And in fact, recently she did another one, and she was selling a $1,200 course, and she sold out in the fastest that she's ever done with this course, okay, because of this approach. The second psychologist that I shared it to was doing a lot of face-to-face presentations in the community. And he had arrangements where he would give presentations in community libraries in 4 different communities around here. And he would have 25 to 30 people at those talks if it was a good turnout, okay? Well, the first time he did a webinar, he got 100 registrations, all right? So big improvement. And that's what the technology piece can do for you. If you're doing face-to-face, what you're going to find is that you're going to reach a lot more people online. It's just so much more convenient. All right. So bottom line, this works for psychologists and therapists as well. It is not just something of working in the B2B space, and this can apply to you. However, there are very specific ways to do this. Okay. And if you really want to make it work gangbusters, then you need to be consistent. You actually need to decide how often you're going to do them, and you need to commit to it to do it. So just to let you know, what I did back then, I was, you know, it helps that I was kind of had my back up against the wall, right? I was thinking, okay, what am I going to do? This is really lonely. My partner left. I got to do something different. I got to get this going. So that helped. I vowed then I'm going to do one of these things every month, once a month at least, maybe twice a month for a year, and I'm going to see what happens. Okay, so of course now here it is, a year and a half later, I'm still doing them because it's working like crazy. Okay, so that is what I want you to do. I want you to see what you can see in this today, learn what you can learn, and I think you're going to see the keys to how to do it well. And then if you basically commit to yourself, okay, I don't really know how this is going to go. I'm going to be brave. I'm going to jump off the diving board. I'm going to commit to do this once a month. Then I think you're going to be amazed at what's going to happen even within 6 months in your practice. So here we go. I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay, I'm actually going to get into the detail. So there's steps involved. So the first step is to create a really strong title for your teleseminar or your webinar and intriguing selling points. Now I'm going to show you some examples here of exactly how to do that as I'm talking to you today, but this is key. The biggest problem I had before was I just vaguely said, hey, I'm going to be here on a phone call in and ask your questions, right? Well, that didn't work at all. Okay, didn't work at all. It wasn't. So if you have a really specific title and it's strong and you have intriguing selling points, people are going to come. And like I said, I'll show you an example of those. Then what you need to do, step number 2, is you want to put together an email campaign following a very specific schedule for that campaign. Okay, this was another thing that I was doing wrong in terms of the timing, the schedule of this. And I learned, my eyes just opened when I learned it from this guy, how to do it. This is the biggest difference that I have seen in marketing, just the schedule of the marketing. Okay, it's been phenomenal. Offer your event to others that are not on your email list. Okay, this is the fastest way to grow your list. If you have a list started, obviously you're going to send to that list. But you also want to reach out beyond that list because people will be intrigued by what you're going to talk about, and then they're going to have to come to your website and opt in to your list to get onto your webinar. Okay, so this is how we've grown our list 5 times in the last year and a half. All right. The next thing is create and give a compelling presentation, either via teleseminar or webinar. And of course, compelling is the key word here, right? Most people don't know how to give a good presentation. They just don't. And I'm going to walk you through an outline for a presentation that I think is going to really surprise you and show you the things that you really need to include that you probably never thought of that will make it quite compelling. Finally, since you have this digital format, you want to post the recording, either the video for a webinar or the audio recording of a teleseminar so that it works for you in the future. Okay, so these are the steps. These are the 5 steps. This is the magic right here in these 5 steps, and I'm going to get into more detail here. So let's talk first about the actual marketing pieces themselves. Now, of course, to create the marketing pieces, you also need to, create a topic that you're going to talk about. So part of that is creating a topic that your audience will be really interested in, right? So who is your target audience? Who do you want to work with? Either in your therapy practice or in a national coaching practice, whatever. What do they want to hear about? What is one of their big things? Okay, it has to be on target. Then you need to create an enticing title for your talk. Okay, it can't be a boring title. It has to be enticing. You're going to create enticing benefits, and we call these bullet points in the marketing. That's how we use them. That if you come, here's what you will learn. Okay. And then you want to put all of that into an email that you send out on this schedule that I mentioned. And you also want to post this to other quote unquote watering holes where people hang out, right? People in your target audience hang out. So first of all, I'm going to show you the wrong way to do this. Okay. Here's the wrong way to do this. And you may go, well, yeah, it doesn't look that bad to me. But when you see the right way to do it, you'll realize how bad it looks. Okay, so let's imagine that you work with kids and you work with anxiety specifically, okay? Now, obviously, if you work with kids, you probably work with a whole bunch of other stuff, but, the topic that you're going to cover this time around is childhood anxiety. Okay, that's good, right? That's great. People should be interested in that. Parents should be interested. So you may come up with this topic or this title of your talk called Childhood Anxiety Disorders, right? And then you may come up with these bullet points. First bullet point, anxiety disorders are the most common form of psychopathology in children and adolescents. Okay. Bullet number 2, what constitutes an anxiety disorder? Bullet number 3, the 7 most common classifications. Bullet number 4, the percentage of children that have these issues. And bullet number 5, comorbid diagnoses. Okay. So, you've probably seen this pitch before, right? if you've been in a working with kids, you've probably seen this before. So now let's talk about the right way to market. So we still have the same topic, right? Childhood anxiety. Nothing wrong with that. That's going to be of interest. There's a bunch of anxious kids out there. There's parents that want to figure out what to do. So that's not a bad topic, but let's look at a better title. How about this one? Does your child have an anxiety problem? 3 ways to know and what to do. Okay, do you think that's a little bit better? Do you think that's a little more intriguing? I think so. And one thing I want you all to do while I'm into this mode where I'm really going into detail, please feel free to ask questions, okay? Please feel free to ask questions because I'm going to guess that as I go through these, you're going to be picturing doing your own presentation and some questions are going to come up for you. And I don't want you to forget those because I want to be able to answer them at the end. So please go ahead and type those into the chat as we go, and I'll get to them at the end. Okay, so there's a title that's much, much stronger. Now we're going to continue the bullets. Okay, here's some bullets that are actually going to really attract people. The 3 most common causes of anxiety in children. If you were a parent, wouldn't you wonder about that? I would. Normal childhood fears that you shouldn't worry about. Okay, well, that's good because I want to know what's normal and what's not normal. Okay, I want to know where I can relax with this. Symptoms you should watch for at various ages. Who wouldn't want to know that if you're a parent with an anxious kid? What to do if you suspect a problem with your child. Okay, and risks if your child is not treated. Don't you think that that's going to make you really want to perk up and show up? Okay, if you are suspecting that there's a problem, that right there is probably going to get you to come to the talk. All right, so these are bullets that are much, much stronger than the other bullets. So we would take all that work that we just did in crafting a great title and great bullet points, and we're going to put it in an email. And if you've if you've been on my list, you've seen this email many times, okay? Because this is what I use. This is the system I use. This is why you are all here today, as a matter of fact, okay? So the email would basically, it would have a title that says something like free webinar on child anxiety or something like that. But the body of the email will say, on October 8th, 2014, I'm giving a free whatever, teleseminar or webinar, titled, Does Your Child Have an Anxiety Problem? 3 Ways to Know and What to Do. During this free, I'll say webinar, I'll share with you the 3 most common causes of anxiety in children and blah, 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 right? We just include those bullet points right there. And then at the bottom, we say this webinar will be recorded, but the replay will only be sent to those who register. How many times have you read that from me? I've probably sent that sentence out a million times by now. Not a million, but a lot. Okay, so this is an email. This is really simple, right? This is straightforward, to the point, not a bunch of fluff, not hard to read. And guess what? People sign up. People want to come. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about outreach. Where do you put this? Where do you get this email sent to? Obviously, you send it to your own email list. And if you don't have an email list that's sent through an autoresponder, i.e. Constant Contact, MailChimp, MailPoet, Aweber, etc., you want to be really careful about how you send those out, because if you just send them out to people and spam your list, you can get in trouble for that. Okay, so you want to be really careful about that. Send it to other folks that would be interested, not just to your list, okay? And there's certain ways to do that. There's certain professional outreach mechanisms that you can use, but you want to send it to other people who would be interested. And for this example, for instance, we could send it to pediatricians and family docs, school counselors, other psychotherapists, certainly, speech therapists. They work with kids quite a bit. We could also publish it in the paper. Okay, so there's a lot of different ways that you can do outreach to folks who would be interested, and that's something you definitely want to do so that you can grow your list. Okay, now let's talk about the presentation itself, okay, because this is key. Here is an example of the wrong presentation, okay, and this goes along with that beautiful marketing I showed you in the beginning that was the wrong marketing. So, the first chart in their presentation would be introduction. The most common form of psychopathology in children and adolescents. And then anxiety disorders are a group of syndromes characterized by symptoms of excessive worrying, intense fears, hypervigilance, or somatic symptoms in the absence of a dangerous situation. Oh my God, right? You're falling asleep. Just in seeing one chart, you're falling asleep, right? The second chart gets worse, okay? Now, there's some good things in here, right? Could set the stage for more serious psychiatric illness if not treated, but this is boring. We have not done our work that we need to do first to get their attention, and we're just diving into all this really heavy stuff. Okay, so this is very much not how to do a presentation. This is an actual presentation, by the way, that I took from somebody online, okay, who's doing a presentation on this. So it may not be that different than what you would do or what people would do. And this is like not the way to do it. So let's talk about the right way to do it. Okay, let's talk about this. Now, I'm going to cover 4 items here. I include this little outline here on the right so that you can see the structure of what I'm doing. The first 4 items are going to set the stage for the presentation. Can you believe that? There's 8 steps in a presentation. The first 4 are setting the stage so that the information is wanted, paid attention to. The people are really listening and they want to listen. There's nothing in the way of them listening. Then item number 5 is where we actually do the teaching segment. That's where the helpful information comes in. And then the last three pieces, 6 through 8, are closing the sale, if you are in fact closing the sale. Now, typically what you're going to do is you're going to close the sale, which is, I'm an expert in this, come see me. I can do therapy with you. Or, hey, I have a group I'm going to be running on this. Or I'm giving a workshop, come sign up for it. okay? Those are typically local therapist, quote unquote, sales that you would be making. And if you're national, you may be doing something bigger. But what I want you to notice here is that the first 4 are setting the stage. So what's the first one? First one is we talk about what the benefits are of the presentation that you're going to hear. Hopefully you remember me doing that in the beginning. I basically said, here's what you're going to learn today. Here's the benefits of listening to me today, okay? The second thing is what you're going to cover, what the core problem is and who this presentation is for, okay? So if we go back to the anxiety example, we can say, here's what you're going to learn today in this presentation about childhood anxiety. You know, you're going to learn what the biggest things are that you need to pay attention to, what's normal and what you don't need to pay attention to. It's basically the bullet points that you sent out in your marketing. And then what's the problem? Well, the problem is that you're a parent who has a child who you think is very anxious. You don't know if you're overreacting, if you're being a helicopter parent, or if there's something really to worry about here. And gosh, you probably even feel guilty. What did I do? What did I do to make my kid so anxious? Is there something I should have done differently? You know, why are they're so miserable in their little body? Why are they so anxious? I don't want them to be this way. And what can I do? And you probably do not know what to do at this point. So that's the core problem. So if this is you, parent, this presentation is for you. Okay, that's what we're going to talk about today. So then address their skepticism. Well, they may have skepticism such as, I've been trying to solve this problem forever. I've taken little Johnny to a therapist for the last 3 years and nothing's gotten better, or whatever. Okay, so you're gonna address their skepticism, and you're gonna talk about what? You're gonna talk about someone's story who had the same problem. Do you remember me talking about my story in the beginning of this? Hopefully you do, right? I talked about how I decided I was going to do these teleseminars, and it was a miserable failure. And at first I fell on my face, right? And then I told you how it changed by learning this system and doing it. I think that got your attention, and that will get your audience's attention as well. When you tell a story about how you worked with a certain client, and it could be an amalgamation story of several clients, but the anxiety that child was living with, the torment that parent was living with, and how you worked with them and you turned it around. Okay, that is going to really get their interest, and they're going to relax and they're going to listen to you. Then what do? Then you conduct the teaching segment. This is where you actually give them valuable information. Hopefully you feel that the information I'm giving you right now is valuable, okay? It's detailed, right? I'm giving you the exact outline you might be thinking of doing a presentation. And that's what you're going to do with your audience as well. You're really going to get in there and you're going to give them examples of anxious kids and what you see in them and what you don't worry about and what you do worry about and how you can work with it. Okay. So this is the teaching segment. And then you're going to move into the sale. Okay. And for you, and you may not like that word sale, but ultimately the reason you would be doing a presentation is most likely to get more clients, to get your name out there more, to attract people to you. So you want to, at that point, qualify who your therapy or your group or your workshop or whatever is for. Okay. So in this case, you could say, I work really well with kids from this age to this age. And I really like to work with the kids and the parents together, because kids can benefit only so much without their parents' involvement. So that's really the requirement I have for taking on any new clients, is that the parents are going to be involved in the work. That's qualifying who it's for, okay? Or you may have a group of parents and kids together, or you may have a workshop you're giving just for parents, and you want to qualify who it's for, who's going to show up. The next thing you want to do is you want to invite them to quote unquote buy. And that's basically where you're going to really tell them that, you know, I'm actually going to offer something here. And then you want to recap the transformation, basically what's going to happen if they do come join you. Okay, so these are the last 3 parts. And again, the thing that was so striking to me when I learned about this was that when I think about a presentation, I think about the teaching segment mostly, and I did not think at all about these 7 other items that make up, you know, the majority of the 8 items on here. Okay, So that's what I want you to really ponder, how you do that. And you could actually pretty much dissect most of my webinars this way. So the huge benefits to doing it this way, again, with the marketing approach and with the outreach and with the presentation, is you're doing list building. Okay, it's built in via the outreach. Your credibility continues because you've done this presentation in a teleseminar format or a webinar format, and the recordings keep this alive, and it continues to deliver, not only for replays for people who missed it, but also you can have it there as something that people could listen to if they're coming to your site later and they're interested in a workshop or a group or even doing therapy with you. Okay, we have somebody right now, one of our mastermind members, who has a group practice in North Carolina. She's doing her first webinar this week. And she has a pretty small list, and she started marketing it a couple days ago, and she now has 28 people registered for her talk. And I talked to her yesterday, she's like, oh my God, that's kind of scary, right? 28 people are gonna be listening to me, oh my gosh. But it's pretty cool because she's gonna end up with a recording, and she's doing the talk on some aspect of couples counseling, but she's going to be able to have that up on her couples counseling page. And people who come to that are going to be able to listen to her, and it's going to be just a huge credibility builder for her. So it's going to deliver clients to her, for the years to come, because she has this recording of this talk she's doing. So that is one of the huge benefits. You just got to understand that part. Okay, replay goes out, recording is on your site, recording on YouTube if it's a webinar. It's awesome. All right. The other thing is you can also do outreach to social media venues. Okay, so there's a lot of people on, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever, that you can do outreach with this recording and basically say, hey, here was a webinar I gave on this topic. Come listen to it. Or here's a teleseminar on this topic. And you're going to get people coming to your site that way. Okay, so the important thing, though, is, me teaching you how to do this title creation and bullet creation and email marketing and outreach and all this good stuff, and then how to actually do a really good presentation. That's all really good. If you do it one time, okay, so what, right? So this client now, this therapist, this psychologist in North Carolina, she's going to give this presentation. If she stops right there, she's going to get a little bump from that, maybe a few clients. That's great. But the way she's really going to build momentum and fill up everybody in her group practice is by doing this every month, because she's going to start getting a reputation as the couples expert or the family expert or whatever. Her practice is going to just shine as the experts in that area. And so consistency is key. I can't stress that enough. Commit to doing it once a month for a year. I really implore you to do that. More and more people will register over time. I showed you how, we went up to whatever, 39 or something like that. And then it was, it just kept growing and growing and growing. And so that's what's going to happen for you too. Your list will keep getting bigger. Your registrants for your information is going to get bigger. And then your clients, more and more people are going to be calling you because you become the de facto expert in your town or within your niche for that topic. The other thing that will happen is you're going to start getting calls and invitations to speak. Okay. And this, this is certainly happening for me. This will happen for you too. You're going to carve out a place where you're the expert in something, and you're going to get better and better at presenting with each one. And so you're definitely going to get invitations to speak, and things are just going to keep rolling from there. Okay. So that was a lot of details, right, of information there. Hopefully you were taking good notes. You can listen to this later again as well if you didn't get it all down. However, if you're interested in really doing this the right way, I'm giving a course, okay? I gave this course last May, and it was extremely well received. Filled up really quick. It was really well received. We had one person who did her first webinar or a teleseminar, I think it was, while the course was still going on, and she had 10 people show up for it, and she was stoked, okay? So this is a really, really great course. This course on this is not for you if you really don't want to build a reputation as an expert, okay? If you are fine just being kind of a generalist, sitting back and not really standing out, then this is not for you. Some of the other stuff I shared is something that would probably still help you in terms of any presentations you may ever give, how to improve your marketing, just with the specifics and that type of thing. But this course itself is probably not for you if you don't want to build a reputation as an expert. It's also not for you if you're not willing to try something new to build your practice, okay? Because, and this is, this is a biggie. You're putting yourself out there with these. And I just want to, acknowledge that not everybody can do it. I think it's great that I can sit here and I can kind of be behind the screens and I can talk to you and I don't have to be on stage somewhere and all that kind of stuff. So I think this format is easier, but it's still not for everyone. Okay, you have to be willing to try it and be brave enough to try it. Finally, it's also not for you if you can't afford to invest a little bit in your practice. So, obviously I'm teaching a course. I have a lot to share. It's a 5-week course. I'll get into the details of it here. But if you can't afford to invest in it, then this isn't for you. If you have something to offer and you really want to get it out there, okay? I've talked to so many therapists who are just sitting there with all this pent-up energy because they know that they can help people. They have some really neat things to offer, and they just can't seem to reach their audience and get it out there. So if you are in that boat where you're just so frustrated because you can't share your gift, then this is for you. It's also for you if you want to learn a system that works, okay? You probably know that about me now. I'm all about systems. I'm like the system queen. And so I pretty much create these things that, I put them together really well, and then we wash, rinse, repeat. They work, they work, they work. So I've already done the trial and error. I told you my sad story about that. So my goal is to save you from doing all that wasting of time with doing the trial and error yourself, and to just start using a system that works really well. Also, if you want support in making it happen, okay, in this course, we actually go through step by step with weekly lessons on here's what you do first, and then you do it, and we give you feedback on it, okay? We have a private Facebook group. We give each other feedback on every step of the process, and that's how people are able to actually get things implemented and get them done. So let's talk about it. The course last time was 4 weeks, and the feedback we got was that people wanted it to be one week longer so that we could really dig into the tools. And so I have added that extra week. So the course is now 5 weeks long. Here is what we're going to be doing. First, I'm going to be teaching you how to choose topics that are going to work for your audience, how to craft the titles so that they're really compelling, and the bullet points. Next, we're going to talk about putting those email campaigns together, what the content should be, what the schedule is, and I give you a handout so that you always have that as a handy-dandy cheat sheet on how to market this. The third thing is we talk about outreach. Besides your list, how do you effectively invite other people? And there's all sorts of really cool ways to increase your outreach and improve your not only attendance at your event, but also your list growth. The fourth week, we talk about the presentation. We go through all the details, okay? I already gave you an outline of what it is, but you may not know exactly how you transition from one part to the next, or exactly what the content needs to be in each one of those sections. Obviously, we don't have time today to go through that. So each of these weeks have video training ahead of time. Then we get on the phone together. We discuss the video training and any questions that people have, and we review their homework. So there is homework in this course. Okay, you need to post that. And finally, the fifth week that we added was that we talk more in depth about the platforms, both for webinars and teleseminars, that are recommended, and we provide training on actually using them, and videos that you can refer to time and time again. Okay, so our friend Susan, who is now doing her webinar this week, she has videos on how to set that up, and so she can just watch that and do setting 1, setting 2, setting 3, and get it all set up and running. So that's the details in terms of what we're going to cover, and the other details in terms of schedule. This course is going to be held Thursday mornings. 7:45 Pacific. Sorry, you guys, that that's so early, but I have a standing 10 o'clock meeting that I have to make here. So 8:45 Mountain, 9:45 Central, 10:45 Eastern. It's going to start on October 9th, and it's going to go through November 6th. So we will be done well before the holidays start. If if you like to avoid courses during that time, I do. So it's going to be starting 10/9 and end 11/6. The value of it, priceless. Hopefully you realize that. Okay, this has more than doubled our business in the last year. In fact, our monthly revenue in the last year and a half is 5 times what it was 18 months ago. Okay, so I credit webinars, teleseminars as the key factor in what has just made Counseling Wise take off in the last year. The cost of this course is $329. One-time payment, $329. If you want to ease that and pay that over 2 months, then you can make 2 payments of $179 instead of that single payment of $329. Okay? And the format for each class, the first half will be where we're doing review of what was taught in the videos. And the second half is consulting with you on your application of the material, okay? So you hopefully will have said, okay, here's my title, here's my bullet points, and posted that in the group. And then we go over that with you and discuss the strengths and weaknesses of each and how you might change it. We do a lot of feedback in the Facebook group, and then we do consulting on the phone during this call. The class limit, we give a lot of individual attention. There's a lot of time spent not with you, either in the call or whatever, but it's done through the Facebook group, and that takes a lot of time because we give people feedback on everything they post. So we're limiting enrollment to only 10 therapists. That's all we can handle to do a really good job. So enrollment there, first come, first serve. The guarantee is this: if you take this course and for whatever reason you don't feel that it was worth the money, we'll refund your payment. Okay, simple as that. Whatever it is, you just say, hey, I took it, I don't, just wasn't worth the money. No problems. It could be whatever reason. It doesn't matter. Just we'll refund your money. If you're interested in this, we know it's going to fill up. It filled up last time, like in a couple of days. Go to counselingwise.com/expert-course, and you can sign up there. We already had some people sign up. Why? Fastest way to business growth that I know of, okay? Fastest way to do it. And I'm very appreciative. I think that you are going to be too. Once you start using this, I think you're going to be blown away. It's a repeatable process that you can do once a month. And once you learn this system, it's going to be really basically change your income drastically. I don't know how else to say it. Okay, I'm showing you my numbers, my results, and I'm showing you what other psychologists have been doing as well. So it is definitely the way to go if you ask me. If you have any questions that you need to talk with me about privately, feel free to go to counselingwise.com and just set up a half-hour consult with me. I know that my calendar is getting more and more booked ahead of time, but if it's really urgent and you need to get a hold of me and there's no room on my calendar, reach out to Megan, my assistant, and she will get you in, or reach out to me directly via email. Just go to Becky@counselingwise.com. I know, Megan, you're going to be on vacation coming up here, so maybe we shouldn't give your email. Reach out to Becky@counselingwise.com if you can't schedule time, or just reach out through this Let's Talk thing and let me know that you need to talk with me and there's no space on my calendar and it's about the course, and I'll try to fit you in, okay? Okay, so I'm going to leave this up. Again, it's first come, first serve. There is that guarantee. Regardless of the reason that you didn't think it was worth it, you get your money back. And there's the link in case you're interested. So now I'm going to go to the questions. And I'm going to scroll down so that I can make sure that I get all of them in the order that they came in. Megan, looking forward to it. I got approached to do one in January. I have no clue what I need to know. Okay, yeah, Megan, hopefully this is really helpful for you. Not Megan, my assistant, but another Megan. Hopefully this was helpful. Let's see, next question. Dun, 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 dun. If you're putting it up on YouTube, Rebecca asked, if you're putting it up on YouTube, then how is it time sensitive? How do you get people to opt in? Hopefully that answer is there, Rebecca. YouTube, it lives in perpetuity forever, but really you're scheduling an event that you're inviting to people to, and that's how it's time sensitive, okay? Rebecca says, I don't know the tech. Okay. So hopefully you got that answer to your question there. Do we charge if national niche won't bring client in the door? Right. So do you charge? That's one good question. Mostly I do not charge. Some people do charge. Okay. I usually do not. I find that I give, and I get back a heck of a lot more than I give. So I don't charge. You could, if you want to try that. I would charge a very low price, however, but that's what I would do. It's a great marketing vehicle. If it's a national niche, it won't bring a client in the door, not unless you are doing coaching, okay? And, you know, you got to do your own audience. If you're give a national presentation. If you're national, give a national presentation, but do phone sessions and coaching, okay? Jennifer, how do you offer the event to those not on your list? Where do you find them? Very good question, Jennifer. So I gave an example of people that you would reach out to. You can do that via postcards, via phone calls, via emails. Also, you can join LinkedIn groups, okay? And you can reach out that way to local people within a LinkedIn group, or Facebook advertising. You can limit it locally to people that you want to get to. So there's some actually really creative ideas about how you can do this. We're working with another psychologist right now on that, doing some Facebook advertising for his webinars. Really neat stuff happening there. So Rebecca, you said you're confused about step number 3, but I don't remember what step number 3 is. So maybe you can chime in on that. Can we get copies of your example email and sample good marketing plan, Jennifer? What I would say, Jennifer, is you're going to be able to watch this replay, take screenshots, and you know, just stop the computer at that point and take screenshots of that, put it in a Word doc. You got it. Okay. How does all this apply to developing a local practice? It totally applies. So that's the whole point. You invite local people on your list and local people who would refer people to you, et cetera, et cetera. And that's, most of our clients are using this locally. Okay. And they are growing, their practices are growing with this. Jennifer tried to answer that question from Susan. Yeah, you send it to local people and associated professionals, right? Increasing your local profile. Exactly. How do we incorporate visual demonstrations into a webinar? I have a great workshop already, but it is interactive and very visual. Jennifer, you can do, if you have videos, you can incorporate those into a PowerPoint webinar and those can play. I've done that before. So that's one way that you can do it. You can also do some cool things with making things fly around on a screen if you know PowerPoint, or you can get help with that. Addie, what is the difference between teleseminar and webinar? Good question, Addie. Sorry about that. I should have told you that. So a teleseminar is only over the phone. So people don't have a screen. They don't have a visual component. It's only over the phone. So if you've done a conference call and you kind of look at that, expanding that conference call out to a bunch of different people, that can be called a teleseminar if it's educational. And a lot of people do teleseminars only. They don't go with the video component. Webinar is like what we're doing today, where you actually have a visual as well. Would you do a 4-part thing and do it once a week for a month? If it's kind of a big topic, yes, you totally could do that. I might want to actually do that in a small course though, Nissa. So you may want to do that. You may want to do that in a small course and see how that goes. And that would be a 4-part course if you want. And you could do one teleseminar or webinar where you really market that course. Anyway, or you could do it once a week. It's a lot of work to do it once a week, I'll tell you. Yeah, Nissa, then you say more like a regular class. I would make it a class. Rebecca, I'm the breakup expert, so I'm really excited to learn the technology. Yep, that would work really well for you. Megan posted the class information and the link. Tech piece. Here's what I'll say. I'm using, it's a lot to get in the tech piece, but I'll tell you my 2 recommendations. For a teleseminar, the recommendation is Instant Teleseminar. You can go check out that tool, Instant Teleseminar. The webinar piece that I suggest is Webinar Jam. That's what I use, and it sits on top of Google Hangouts. Okay? So that's the answer there. Nissa, will this course be offered again? I unfortunately will be gone 2 weeks in the middle of this. It will probably be offered again next year. I'm not sure when, this time. So maybe in 6 months it'll be offered again. I would also tell you that everything is going to be recorded. So even if you're gone for 2 weeks in the middle, if you wanted to still take it, you would get the recordings and you would have access to the Facebook group. So you'd have that there. Jennifer, webinars versus video blogs. Video blogs are just a different thing, right? That's kind of like an evergreen piece of content that sits out there that you hope people go to and see. A webinar has that timing scarcity component, which is why it works so well. So that's how those two are different. Travis just signed up. So excited. Awesome, Travis. Susan just signed up. Awesome. Happy to have you. Great. Rebecca, you covered a good deal of my questions, and I still need some hand-holding with all the logistics, email platforms, record, blah, 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 blah. I assume it's part of the course. Yes, part of the course. And of course, you're in the private Facebook group. So any questions you ask, boom, there you are. Nissa, okay, so you wouldn't do it online. Oh, your course, your 1 week apart thing, I would do it online. But I would charge for it. I would actually have that be a course. Okay. So hopefully that answers your questions there. Okay. So, I don't see any more questions in the chat. I'm going to give you guys a few more minutes. We have 3 minutes left until the top of the hour. So if you have any last minute questions, anything that was not answered for you, feel free to go ahead and type those in, and I will be happy to answer them right now. And like I said, if you want to talk with me privately, I'm going to just show you the screen again. You can go to the Counseling Wise homepage, and you can just click Set Time to Discuss and set up a time with me. And again, I know that I'm getting booked like 3 weeks in advance. It's insane. So if you can't get in and it's urgent because it's about the course that's going to be filling, then send me a message and let me know, and I'll try to get a hold of you somehow, okay? And we'll work it out. Jennifer, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jennifer. I really appreciate it. Kelly Hendricks. Becky, I freaking love you. You are so smart. Thanks, Kelly. You're awesome. I love you too, Kelly. How's that? I'm going to put this link back up here in case you guys want to see that. Anyone who hasn't gone there and signed up yet. Any other questions? Feel free to type them in. We got 2 minutes, and I will wait patiently. But I want to thank you all for your time. Really, it's been an awesome ride for us. We had a company barbecue this last weekend at my house, and we had like 25 people there, and it was me locally a year and a half ago, and that was it. So we're growing like crazy and having a good time doing it, and feeling a little crazy at times with it too, but that's a good problem to have, I suppose. Becca, well done. Thank you. I appreciate that, Becca. Thanks so much for your compliments. Stephanie, thank you. Thank you very much for coming. I appreciate that. Woohoo! You got it, Kelly. Woohoo! All right, I guess we don't have any other questions, you guys. So thank you so much for coming. I hope that this was really informative. Hope you join us. It's going to be a fun ride, and I'll talk to you next time. Okay, Becky, over and out. Take care. Bye-bye.